Deep Sea Podcast, fun take on a science podcast about everything deep sea. I'm Dr. Tom Lindley, and we found him, Professor Alan Jameson. Welcome back, mate.
Hi.
It's good to see you.
I know, I'm alive.
You are, just about.
Well, I'm not really alive. I really hurt my leg.
Go on, let's start on the important stuff. How'd you hurt your leg, mate?
I don't know. It's just my left knee's getting progressively worse and worse and worse to the point I've actually strapped up today and I can't really walk on it. So
can you feel when the weather changes?
I don't know. I think I can sense where gold is underground. It's one of those types of aches. But yeah, I don't know what I've done to it. I think I'm just genuinely fatigued and broken, mentally, physically.
We're off on a real tangent now, but that gold detecting thing, I drove past a work site basically as they were repairing the road because all the pipes are really leaky here.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping it was just someone messing around. But one of the construction workers had divining rods.
Nice.
And was walking over where the leaks were. And I was like, I hope they're just messing around. I hope the council isn't using divining rods to find the leaks.
You think there's got to be a better way?
I hope they're messing around. But it's just this little vignette, as you drive past, I was just like, yeah. I hope that's not tax dollars at work.
Well, it's funny saying of gold, because remember we were talking about there was a news article about gold being the next mineral or next element for deep sea mining. One of my old Mariana Trench videos is doing the round on Twitter, which is someone keeps putting out saying these are all the things that live in Challenger Deep, and about 90% of it is not. But the last shot is a shot that I took in Serena Deep at 10,700 meters, and it shows a big sulfur mound. And I noticed a whole bunch of folk leaving comments going, "Oh my God, is that gold at the end of that video?" It's like, nah, it's not gold. It's sulfur. You're going to be sorely disappointed if you go looking for gold.
Let them fund some science.
Just find egg.
Just stinky egg. So you can make match heads. Yeah. Well done.
Yeah, but I wish to stop putting that video out and telling everyone it's from 11,000 meters. When it starts off as Naphobranchid eels, which are from like 1,000.
Yeah, like 2,000 max.
It is all from Mariana, but people seem to forget that Mariana also has a shallow end. It's not just one big deep end.
It's not just a plug.
yeah, it does have a start and an end. The deep end's the end bit.
Mind you, some of those YouTube videos, they love the blue hole, don't they? And they all get conflated with monsters and things like that. People love just a hole.
Yeah.
What's in the hole? That's a basic human question.
Yeah. That's what the first thing you do when you go to the beach is you dig a big deep hole.
Yeah. And just gather other people from around you as they join the project. Oh, you're digging a hole, are you?
Yeah.
I've got some opinions.
It's mostly men as well, yes. Isn't it? I don't see many groups of women digging holes in the beach.
It does attract men. Yeah. And the age goes up. You start digging with a child, and before you know it, you've got like a whole project team of 40-year-old men.
Yeah. Anyway, I am alive. I am back on dry land after a very long time away doing things. Doing a lot of things.
Yeah. So many things that the things from the beginning now feel distant from the things at the start, but you haven't had a chance to tell us about it all.
When did we last do a podcast? We did one when I was in quarantine.
Yes, that's
I was in Fiji.
So
is that the last one we did?
Yeah, so this is all...
Oh, jeez. Oh.
You've done a lot. You've been busy.
Right, that's been 2 months then.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we've done lots and lots and lots of lander deployments in the Tonga Trench. At the moment, the expedition's not finished yet. I just did the first couple of months, and other people are doing the second couple of months. We must be close to 60 or 70 landers now. And so the shallowest one, I believe, is about 700 or 800 meters, and the deepest ones is nearly 11,000. So we've got data from every 200 meters all the way from the top to the bottom, which is pretty cool.
Jeez.
We've got a sub-dive at the moment, I think, every 1,300 meters. We've still got quite a few more to go.
And those tend to be transects. How much do you get in a sub-dive? How much can you... I guess it gets
4
less
hours.
As you get deeper. So 4 hours transit for each of those?
No, it's the same. It's the same.
Okay.
Same bottom time. It's just it's quicker to get there. So it's always 4 hours on the bottom, which on a normal speed covers about a kilometre. If you're doing a geology dive up a landslide or something quite steep and something quite complex, it's probably shorter than that. But 4 hours is the time. So the deep dives are about 3.5 to 4 hours down, 4 hours in the bottom and about 3.5 up. So we did, on the first leg, we did 10,005 meters and then 10,805 meters in the space of a week, which is pretty cool. 10,000 meters twice in a week. They were really cool. The whole bottom of Tonga Trench is full of ash.
Oh, from the eruptions.
Yeah, well, but I mean, not necessarily just the recent one. I think just generally the whole place is just this volcanic thing going on. So that was cool. We did a 7,500 meter dive. Denise, my colleague, did a 8,500 meter dive, and I think we did a 3,500 meter dive. We did.
You were telling me how much video you'd gotten? How much bottom video in total?
Yeah, we're up to some like 20 terabytes, but at the moment, the previous expedition is roughly the same size as this one, and it added up to be 56 days continuous video. So it's quite a slog going through it all, but it's fantastic. And one of the big highlights, I think, was to let me pilot the sub. So I did a whole dive as pilot to 2,000 meters and back.
Well done.
That's quite exciting.
Took the wheel.
I know. Got the little headset on.
What does it feel like to steer the beast?
It's an odd thing because I don't mean any disrespect to the pilots, but there's not a lot of piling to be done. It's a lot of sinking. It's a lot of just sinking and a lot of just floating back.
It's nothing someone loves more than for you to have a try at what they do and then you turn around and just go like, your job's a lot easier than I thought.
No. The difficult bit is on the bottom. But it's about, you're driving around in a big floating brick and the controls are very sensitive and different directions for some reason. It's up and down is super sensitive and left and right is not. So it takes a bit of a while to get used to that. Plus the visibility is really awkward. So you're obviously already confined to a very small seat. So it is very uncomfortable. But then once you're on the bottom, you have to start looking around. You're constantly checking your GUI software. You're constantly having to call the surface. You're still speaking to the co-pilot. You're trying to look out 3 different windows. You're trying to maintain the right altitude. So once you're on the bottom, there's so much going on that it's actually quite exhausting. I would say it's more exhausting than I thought it was. It's not like you're flying a plane. You're actually going the opposite. You're trying to keep it as steady and as slow as possible. And you use the currents a lot to try and, you don't want to thrust all over the place because certainly down in the deeper ends and stuff like that, once you kick up the mud, it hangs. There's so little current down there sometimes that it just hangs and it ruins your shot. So it's a lot of just using the current to your advantage and just quite quietly and controllingly drifting across the bottom. And it was a really good exercise. So we swapped roles so the pilot got the chance to play around with the photography because he gets a better understanding of how to set up the shot for the scientists. And I get a better understanding of what it is I'm asking the pilot to do.
Yeah,
so
you're saying this is a mutual exchange. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it started off a bit like, well, this isn't really going to work because the photographs he was taking were rubbish and I'm face planting in the seafloor every 2 seconds. And, but it's like playing a computer game, right? You have a...
Yeah. You learn the controls. We've all dropped a grenade at our feet.
yeah. After half an hour, you're like, okay, right, let's pretend the transect starts now. That was just a warm-up.
Practice transect,
it was a practice shot, yeah.
Calibration.
So that was really cool. It was really nice and really proud of that. That was a big highlight. Probably a big career highlight, actually. It's not normal to pilot a sub to 2,000 meters and back, so quite enjoyed that.
Very, very cool.
Scientifically, there's been lots of things, lots of good finds. I guess it's spoiler alert, there's going to be some very, 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 very interesting squid videos coming out in the next week or so.
Do we have a timescale for that? Because is it not going to be out by Friday? Can we not talk about it? Because it's really, really good. Let's not. We'll be good. I don't want to spoil it, but it is Squidtember and
it's Squidtember, and then we've got 2 new squid videos.
And you've delivered some very cool squid vid.
Yeah, one of them in particular is going to get quite a lot of people rather excited. But it's not the giant squid and it's not the colossal squid. It's a different squid. It's one of the strangest. So I look forward to see people's reaction to that. It is pretty impressive. And that, to be fair, that wasn't on my leg. That was only came in last week. That was Heather and Coded got that one. But the one before that, we got a really nice shot of the whiplash squid as well. So that'll be out. I'll leave the other one nameless at the moment because just to build up some excitement. But that was cool. And
the whiplash is really cool. It's big and it's quite intimidating. Like I struggle to resolve it, and it's got this almost sheen to it, and it's like a stealth bomber just coming in and out. And I'm like, is that the front? Is that the back? It's like symmetrical in both directions. It just comes to a point. It looks like an alien craft. Yeah, and it's the way that its arms are like collapsed into a perfect point. Yeah. And then suddenly it just opens them all out and you're like, oh, geez, that's a big old squid. That's the front then.
Yeah. So there was that, and then we've got some really big rays as well up at 2,500 meters, and got lots of interesting grenadiers, lots of the usual suspects, lots of snailfish. And
I saw a big chunky rudis, or just its bum moving out of shot.
Yeah, and the globose head as well. Quite like that one. They're making a little video about that just now. So that was an interesting one. I've never seen that before. Tripod fish.
Cool. I didn't see those.
Yeah, we got better shots on them on the Nova Canton one. We got some really good ones in the Nova Canton, but
Did they startle at all?
Tripod fish, no.
No, they hold their ground, don't they? We were chatting about that the other day, where the other grinners, the deep sea lizardfish, go off like a shot. But these things just like...
Yes and no, but the lizardfish are odd. They kind of behave the same way as they hunt. We've come up, I've certainly been in the sub, come up on 3 of those now, maybe even 4. The first one, remember we're talking about the first one when it does the escape response, it went straight up vertical.
Yeah.
That was the one that got spooked really easily. But the other ones, you're practically on top of them and they don't care. And then it's almost like it's at the point of like, this thing's going to run me down, then it moves. So it stands its ground for way more than you would expect. But the tripod fish was completely oblivious, it didn't care. Which I think is great. Maybe it's doing that thing, like if I don't move, you can't see me. So I'll just not move.
Because we were chatting about seeing video of them like getting almost smothered by sediment that's been kicked forward, and they just hold their ground.
Yeah.
I don't think they're very bright. I think they're running on low energy.
The other weird thing that happened, and this has been such a long, challenging trip in many respects, mostly for all sorts of reasons, a lot to do with weather as well, but it was such an up and down trip that at one point we had to go back to Tonga for whatever reason, but we couldn't come into the harbour, so we sat off behind the big island for a couple of days actually, and thought, oh well, this is quite disappointing, we're stuck here again. But the weather was out, the sun's out, absolutely glorious weather, and we're absolutely completely surrounded by humpback whales. Just like right up against the ship. They were jumping out of the water, they were splashing, they were clearly
getting sexy.
Mating.
Yeah.
They were getting a little
clearly
bit
mating
frisky.
is the
yes.
The odd prehensile penis flapping around above the sea.
Yeah.
Fun.
So our media guy, obviously, he already had all the right permits for stuff like that and everything else. So he put the drone out and got some really cool footage, and it was almost reach out and touch them type of thing. It wasn't far off that, and it was non-stop all day. It was just having a cup of tea, sitting there just watching
the whale porn.
Yeah. So it was such a surreal experience, a lot of it, and that was really, really good.
Well, that is an incredible experience.
It felt like a long one, though. Tell you that.
Well, because it was.
And I've only got 2 months, and then I'm back out again.
For your sins.
Never mind,
But back home, back in Scotland, catch your breath.
I'm in Scotland just now until Sunday. And then I'm going back to Australia for 2 months. Via Singapore and Auckland, maybe. International man, a mystery these days, Tom.
Yeah, but we might get an in-person show. We might get to raise a beer. I'll try and I'll see if I can get up to Auckland and catch you.
Yeah, we should do that, yeah. Anyway, keep your eye out for the squid video.
Yep, excited for that one.
Never quite sure what to do with these things, you see, because I'm not a big fan of social media. I don't really see its value in terms of you chase big numbers, but each numbers doesn't really mean anything. So the big numbers are kind of false one. Or do you put out a press release?
Yeah.
And that worked for the Dana Squid. The Dana Squid one got 1.2 billion people watched it in 4 days, right? So that's big numbers, but is it better to have 100 people who are totally into squid and will get this, or is it better to have 1 million people who just flicked past it on their phone? I don't know what the answer is. So I'm always kind of toyed at the moment of when you get a really nice bit of footage and you want to share it, what's the best way to do it? Do you try and wrap it up in a story, or just go, what the hell, stick 20 seconds on Twitter?
Yeah, it's kind of both, isn't it? Because we our numbers aren't huge, but we have such engaged audience, and then there's the Discord community and things like that. Like the people who really listen, and they give like an hour of their time and really engage with us, and we have lots of conversations. And yeah, you're right. The rest might just be somebody scrolling by. It's like, oh, that's cool. It's weird. I really like the videos you're putting out on Instagram.
I don't have Instagram.
You don't, but your
no, I don't.
Your masters do.
The puppeteers do. No, actually, no. Yeah, I have seen them. I have seen most of them, and I have to normally sign them off before they get put out in case I say something stupid.
Yeah, weren't you saying you were deliberately making people have a have a hard time editing you?
Yes, there was. I think maybe in a future episode I might get some of the Tonga Trench people back together again but it's just at the moment, the reason why this podcast is late is entirely my fault. I was planning on doing a lot of recording whilst in the field, but there was lots of reasons why each and every single person who should have been on this program right now couldn't do it.
Going to see, eh?
Well,
Stuff
yeah.
always
And one of the guys I wanted to put on there was Steve, the media guy. Because he's an absolute legend, and that poor man.
You tormented him for 2.5 months.
He had to sit next to me for 2 months trying to get some serious science out of us, and it would just made his life so difficult. It's my favourite sport now, is trying to make Steve as uncomfortable as possible and give him enough wasted material on his cameras and his devices as possible.
Yeah, 6K garbage.
Absolute complete and utter
3
nonsense.
gig a minute of garbage.
Absolutely garbage. Yeah. Even when he's interviewing someone else, there's always the sport of trying to ruin that shot too.
Wonderful.
He loves me really, and
I don't know why he didn't help you record a podcast.
well, because he's apparently he's got a family, and he had to go and spend time with them or something. I don't know,
it's an
some
excuse
weird
to get
thing.
away from you.
Yeah, basically, yeah. But he lives in Auckland as well, so he doesn't know this yet. But
We'll both
I'm going to find out where he lives. Yeah, and then just start photobombing his family photographs as well.
And it's New Zealand. You can just start asking people on the street, and someone will know him.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, absolutely. But I love him, really. He's good fun. So anyway, it'll be interesting to get the media guy's perspective on how difficult it is trying to work with a bunch of disgruntled, knackered, disenfranchised scientists in the middle of nowhere at the edge of the world.
I'm wondering if I should interview him without you, like it's couples therapy. And I just worry, if the abuser is in the room, can he fully open up? So I might give him a safe space away from you.
I don't think I abuse Steve. I don't abuse Steve. Well, there is some video evidence to the contrary of that.
If anyone has evidence, it's the media guy.
I think I just challenge him, I think is how I would put it.
And in that challenging, he grows.
Yeah, there is a video. Those big exercise balls, the big inflatable things you sit on sometimes. We had one of those in the office for whatever reason, and I think there is video of me bouncing it off his head while he's trying to work. Classic.
I've been on a boat with a board, Alan. I remember what it's like.
Oh, I mean, it's not just me, by the way. It's not just me versus Steve. I mean, I have to throw Denise under the bus for this as well. She was pretty good at stealing his camera and filming stuff without him knowing on his gear, so he'd find it later and things like that. So it's science versus media.
You did share with me a beautifully shot, no doubt wasting loads of gig of storage, multi-camera discussion about Batman.
That was brilliant. That's not even half of it. Steve was so good. At the end of it, he made me a 15-minute video of all the outtakes of all the stupid stuff we did. Probably not even all of it. It's just the stuff he could easily dig out. And it's not for public consumption, but it's honestly, it makes me laugh a lot. There's some crackers in there of me looking at Denise, who's from the Netherlands, saying, "What's the relationship between the Netherlands and the nether regions?" and stuff like that. Just
the big questions.
When all he wants is to talk about the fish on the screen. I enjoyed it. I find
I can't help but say I'm very funny. I'm very entertaining.
No, it's not that. It's just I genuinely find pleasure into making media people's life difficult or challenging. I don't mind media people because they're there to do a good job and all the rest of it. I mean, my favourite sport is just being horrible to journalists. They're my favourite, especially a journalist on the ship. They're just the worst. We don't take them out anymore. It's too risky.
But some cool stuff came out on the BBC.
Oh, we did, yeah.
Yeah, what was that like?
Yeah, it was a crowdsourced science and action thing, podcasts. Yeah, we made a mistake there. So Steve had us mic'd up and we recorded the whole 4-hour descent even. I had to say a little bit at significant depths so they could frame their podcast around us going down and the other scientists, including Paul Yancey and stuff like that. And they were talking in the middle of it. And the day after the big deep dive, Steve came to me and said, is there anything you said on the way down that is a bit inappropriate or anything like that? And I was like, well, yeah. I said, you might want to take out me explaining to Luke the rules of Sausage Fest, which is how many sausages can you eat on a trip. And we played Sausage Fest, by the way. We did it on the second leg.
Hey, good.
Yeah, 84% of the length of the vessel we managed to consume in 3 weeks.
Good work.
Anyway, I was explaining to Luke the rules of Sausage Fest, and so I said to Steve, could you just cut that out? Because we don't really want to send that to the BBC. She's like, all right.
That's IP. That's IP. We don't want other people taking the Sausage Fest brand.
Yeah, so you cut that bit out and send the rest of it to the BBC. And then that night we were sat having a couple of beers and Luke's there and he's like, yeah, that wasn't the only thing you said. And he ran off all these other highlights of our conversation on the way down and realised, and I sort of said to Steve, like, can we maybe intercept that before it gets to the BBC? And he looked at his phone and he's like, nah, it's just gone. So there was elements in that little podcast of us joking around because there's not much else to talk about in a 4-hour descent. But
they made the edit.
Yeah, they did it all. So it's a wee jokes about us with sandwiches. I threatened to strangle Captain Barnacles on the highbrow BBC podcast, which I'd forgot that was in there.
It is a BBC show, isn't it?
Yeah.
I hope it gets to him. I hope it gets to Barnacles.
Yeah, just next time maybe we should be a bit more careful about when we're mic'd up. But no, it's good fun.
If we've not learnt our lesson by now, you forget it's there. You tune it out.
Yeah. I'm sure there's something else we did as well.
Oh, probably.
Oh, yes. This was a great one, right? So I was sitting out on the boat one night and ABC Radio in Australia called me up in a bit of a tiz. And there was this person that was like, my name is such and such. I'm a producer for the show. And one of the games we play on the show is a caller calls in with a question and they've got 45 minutes to find an expert to give them the answer. So she goes, can I phone you back in 45 minutes? The question is, how deep can humans go on scuba?
Right.
And she goes, you're into deep sea stuff, right? And I was like, yeah, all right, whatever. So they phoned me back 45 minutes later. And I think it was live on air. And I had mentioned it to us, it's like, by all means call me back, but I can't guarantee the signal's going to be great because I'm on a boat off Tonga right now. She's like, oh, okay, that's weird. But I guess you're a marine biologist, whatever.
Wait, you didn't know the context?
No.
You didn't know why you were at... Oh, okay, all right.
So she hands over to the host, and there's this guy, and he was talking about, so how deep could people go? And we're sitting there going, well, it's, 50 metres on normal and 100 metres if technical. There's crazy people have got a few hundred metres, whatever. And he was like, oh, great, that's really interesting. Thanks for everything else. And he says, oh, by the way, I hear you're on a boat right now. What are you up to? Sort of like filling in a couple of...
Yeah, you're going to be tagging some dolphins or catching a flying fish.
What are you doing? It's like, oh, I've just done a dive to the second deepest place on the planet. And he was kind of like, well, what the hell? And then he ran out of time, so it was like, all right, see ya, bye.
Wow, nice. Nice.
Yeah, that's really funny. Caught him completely off guard.
Oh, that's great. I wonder if we can get that clip. Wait, what? Cut. I ended up doing a similar thing as well. Some listener asked if fish drink, and then there was a whole thing on a local radio station here. They seem to be quite into that. And once you're on their Rolodex, you get weird calls.
Yeah.
No, it was good. We got into a whole saltwater, freshwater osmolarity thing. It was good.
Wow. There is one thing we need to mention, though, that this is our 50th episode that I've completely ruined. I'm not having any content whatsoever.
Ruin a good one. Yeah.
I thought we might as well ruin this one, because then it makes it a special, because we can say it's not just a ruined one because Alan didn't actually get his act together and
he ruined
get interviews with anybody. Well, to be fair, one person we were going to interview, their organisation didn't like it. One guy got really ill and can't talk right now. One of them went on holiday as soon as I got off the ship, and the other one's supposed to be on the ship but got taken off. The other one, I actually don't know where he is. And so it's not necessarily my fault. I mean, I could have done it when they were all there, when we're all literally in the same boat, but we were busy. It's
because of all of this.
Yeah, absolutely my fault. But it is the 50th episode, therefore, by not having a specific guest and a big subject in which to hook it around, we can just call it the 50th episode special.
Yeah, there you go. That fills the title.
But I'm more interested. I mean, this is not necessarily a deep sea question, but I'm more intrigued to see what's going on with your hair. Have you gone completely grey, or have you dyed it blonde?
Let's get to the important things.
That's a personal question to ask you on a podcast, but are you just going really grey? Have I been away that long?
I wanted to go silver grey.
Right.
And so bleached it in preparation for that. And I cannot get the pigment to take. My hair's just like, nah, you're in Blade Runner now. You're blonde.
Oh.
So I dye it a really cool grey, and it lasts for a couple of days, and then it's this again. But I'm kind of it's growing on me. I'm doing like a Tigerian thing.
Solid mohawk though. It's good. I like it. It's almost like a dorsal fin.
Yeah, cuts through. I can do really sharp turns.
Do you find that specific hairstyle makes you more aerodynamic in the high winds of Wellington?
Yes and no, because it's like I've got to tack basically. So if I'm going into the wind, I've got to tack back and forth like I'm sailing.
Sometimes when you come out of shop, when you come out of a shop, you just get blown over. Yeah,
that's it. And I've got to right myself. But I have got a little fella who sits on my back, and when I'm starting to lean, he holds onto my shoulders and then he leans right back to sort of counterbalance that. He's really good.
Right.
He's really good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right. Just to test this, it's just doing a structural integrity test on your spine.
Yeah, well, like the yacht racers. He leans way out so that I can go over in the wind, and then we get really fast as we walk along the streets of Wellington in the wind.
I've got a haircut story for you.
Go on.
When you're at sea for that long, sometimes your hair gets a bit unruly, but there's normally a barber on board. But the barber isn't a barber. The barber is a deckhand who's done barbery before. And we had this Filipino guy on board called Phil, who is a painter and varnisher, but was working in the kitchen because he's an extraordinarily good cook. and he's also a hairdresser.
Nothing felt
And so there is no barber shop on the ship, so it all gets done in the machine shop. So you go down there, you sit next to the lift on an upturned bin with a bin bag over you. He comes down, does his business, and at the end takes a compressed air supply and blows all the hair off.
Yes. Oh, I like to think of it as engineering. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And it's also
It's
free.
like he's put you on a lathe and just...
Basically, yeah. It's quite an experience. I thoroughly recommend it.
Oh.
And on a moving ship as well. Makes it really exciting. I got a scroll from the king. It's a genuine one. I actually got it a couple of months ago, but I haven't been home in so long. I haven't been home in about 4 months, but I got a tube from the palace because I got this OBE thing. I've got my little medal, but it's just for fun. I wore it on the 11,000 meter dive. I got a picture of me looking all smug with my medal on.
But just pinned to a polo shirt.
Yeah. Anyway, you get a scroll, and it's like a medieval scroll thing. And so I was given this thing when I got back. Said, "Oh, the king sent you this." I'm like, "Oh, thanks, dear."
Cheers, king.
The king sent me a thing. And you roll it out, and right enough, it's all written, handwritten, and it's all the stuff about being part of the most excellent order, and Professor Alan Jameson is now part of this secret brotherhood or whatever it is. And at the top, King Charles has signed it, and then it's all this sort of really bizarre wording about the order, and at the bottom it's signed by only 2 words, Grand Master. So
who's that?
Things got weirder. So last week I was in London for various things, and I went to visit my old pal Oliver Steeds from the Necton Foundation, and we decided to drink beers while playing lawn bowls across from the Royal Geographical Society. And of course, Ollie Steeds also has an OBE, so it was 2 OBEs drinking Stella, playing lawn bowls, talking science. And I was telling him, I said, "Did you get one of these scroll things?" And he's like, "Yeah." What would you do with it? Like, what'd you do with a medieval scroll from the king? It's not something I'm familiar with, you know. Not. He says, I framed it and put it in the toilet. And so yesterday I took the scroll and I put it in a big picture frame and I hung it in the downstairs toilet. 2 of us have done it now, therefore it's traditional. That's where you put your medieval scroll from the king.
Follow-up questions. Mm-hmm. Did you get it properly framed, or did you just buy a frame from the supermarket and put something signed by the king in it? You found one you already had.
I found one in the garage.
Sorry, Led Zeppelin.
No,
wow.
I didn't think of that until you mentioned that. That was, yeah. I just went, I've got a picture for him. Go and get that. That's big enough.
No, it's a bit too small. I'll cut the edge.
Yeah. It's not every day you get a scroll from the king.
And was it just delivered by a human being, or was it delivered by a chariot or something? Oh.
But it's signed at the top by the king, but it's from the Grand Master. But it doesn't specify if the Grand Master is the king or not. Presumably it's a different guy. But I thought Grand Master was part of a very different organisation.
Are we allowed to talk about this? Because this does imply that there's someone higher than the king.
Am I getting confused between Grand Wizard, Grand Master, and...
There's someone behind you.
Grand Master Flash.
That was hopefully Flash.
I don't know. It's all very surreal, but it's very funny.
That is a great story. I like that you wore your medal going down.
Well, there's some guys on the ship, like the captain and some former Special Forces guys who work for us, are always very concerned because I took my OBE back to Australia for some reason. I can't remember why, because I got it when I was in transit, I guess. And I was trying to bring it back here because I can't keep it in Australia because I don't live anywhere in Australia, right? I'm a hobo at the moment. So I thought I better bring it back here. I'll just leave it here. But I've had to carry it around now for the last 3 or 4 months. And I just keep it in the side pocket of my rucksack, because if I put it in flat, every time I go through an x-ray machine, they think it's a ninja star and I get rolled over and I have to do this embarrassing thing, say, it's not a weapon. I'm just a super posh friend of the king. So I put it in the side pocket, but it's always precariously hanging out. And so there's genuinely people on the ship who are really concerned that I'm going to lose this thing. And then, of course, I did lose it. It was in my cabin somewhere and it must have fallen out. So they were right. So I've had to send them a little note back saying it's now in Scotland and it's secure.
I'm going to stop playing with it.
Yeah, so I need to put it somewhere safe and bury it in a garden or something.
Good, but then this is the same person that wore their almost one of a kind Omega watch to paint a fence.
Yeah, it's still got wood varnish on it. Yeah, $12,000 watch. Yeah, I should never think about it. No, I must be in Australia. I'm trying to think what hemisphere that watch is in at the moment.
Which backpack pocket has that fallen out of?
I haven't seen it for a while. I don't normally wear it. It's
just for painting the fence. It's your
Well, the
painting
story
watch.
is when we did the 5 deeps, we all got this really nice Omega watch because they sponsored some of the dives, and this particular watch had done the journey down to Challenger Deep and back, which gives it a higher value. So it's we all
It was a limited run as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, this did it especially for us. It's a beautiful, beautiful watch. But then after a while, I got a bit blasé. I'm not a watch guy. A lot of guys are really seriously into watches. During COVID, I found myself like painting a lot and doing jobs around the house, and then realised that at one point I had like splattered wood varnish all over my $12,000 watch. And at one point I thought maybe I should either just take this off if you're doing dirty work, or maybe just stop wearing a $12,000 watch and put it somewhere safe. But then I thought, what's the point in having it if you're not going to wear it? So I wore it for a bit, and then I don't know, I went back to my old watch.
Now it's somewhere.
It's very nice though.
No, it is. It's
I can't even remember what it's called. It's called a sea something.
Yeah, it was something like that.
Some nautical theme. I don't know. Yeah, it's blue.
Good. It's blue and it's shiny. It's very nice.
It tells the time as well. It's great.
It does, but it tells rich time, which is different.
Yeah, it's very expensive time.
Yeah, you get more of it as well. You get a proper night's sleep.
But that costs you more for that information than it normally would on a Casio digital watch. No offense, Casio. Other watches are available.
You went full BBC then.
What other deep sea things we've got on the go?
What's up next? I don't know if we'll actually meet, but we're both going to play in the Antarctic.
Yeah, anyway, so the next job's Antarctica, South Orkney Trench. So I'll go back to Perth for 2 months and then go back into Chile, Punta Arenas, and do my 7-day quarantine there. And then go all the way through Tierra del Fuego, cross Drake's Passage, bish bash bosh, lots of sub dives, all the way back in. Should take them all in all 6 weeks.
I think I arrive on the 6th of January, so I'm just going to miss you. But I'll probably see the wreckage. I'll probably see signs of you.
Oh, to be a mysterious international man of mystery, I will still be in Antarctica, just not on that boat.
Ah, nice. Okay,
wink,
that's it.
Wink.
There may have been a chunk of conversation here that had to be edited out for being super secret, but yes.
And I think I'll be, because where we're working scientifically is nowhere near where you're going, but where I'm going after that, I probably is near where you're going.
I'll give you a wave.
Yeah, that's how much we can't talk about it.
Yeah.
So don't talk about that. Anyway, I was going to try something here.
Oh yeah, sure.
Well, I don't know if this would work on a podcast, but what I'm doing here is I'm showing Tom all the lovely pictures from Tonga Trench. Antimora rostrata, very common at the top end. These are squid, which we now know to be the whiplash. Big old ray. Then we've got a little Trachyrhynchus in there. Ferrieri, halosaurs. This is the sponge picture I was telling you about. This when we were doing the 2,000 meter dive, when I was practicing how to get close enough to get a good picture of it. I came up along this glass sponge. It was probably about a meter high, and managed to park a sub next to it, and then basically just very gently just sort of shimmy forward a little bit to the point where it was practically touching the viewport, and then we got some really cool pictures of the internal structure.
You can see the inhalant and exhalant.
So there's this guy, then there's Coryphaenoides, then there's these leeches, Clitellata, they're called. They're actually leeches. Oh, I didn't realise that some of these parasites were genuinely leeches. Spongy. A lot of sponges. But I've got one of my PhD students is an avid sponge fan, so he goes through and he's quite encyclopedic when it comes to sponges.
I don't envy that. They can just do whatever they like. It's like, I'm the encrusting version. I'm the bright pink version. I look like a big vase.
Well, yeah, it turns out there are some sponges that can be the same species but in a completely different shape.
Yeah.
Which I find that really annoying.
It's not fair. Yeah. Oh, this is good. There's a globose guy, and the bottom right is the tripod fish. Yeah, but that's what we've got to work with at these depths. So, we're still not regularly trawling. Got a few more fish as well. Beautiful big polychaetes at 7,300. Those spines look defensive. That looks like it stops it being swallowed.
Yeah. The first half of the dive was pretty boring, I must admit. It was pretty flat. There was the usual suspects of holothurians and whatnot kicking around, and then we did what's called a relocate. So if after the first 2 hours it's looking like this is just the same, and we've kind of documented everything here, is to come up 50 metres above bottom, turn sideways, and just peg it for 15 minutes, and basically relocate and take a chance your luck somewhere else. So you do a dive of 2 halves. On this particular one, we went along and came and nearly hit a wall because there was a 45-degree slope coming up, covered in rocks. Absolutely covered. So the rest of the dive, we just navigated up this slope, but on it were predatory tunicates.
Oh yeah, we were talking about those recently.
Yeah, the weirdest things.
Yeah, big trapdoor mouth.
The place was littered with those 7,500 meters covered in tunicates. So weird.
You were telling me we didn't come onto it that you can only go shallower once you get down the bottom.
Yeah, and so you can drop weights, but you can't pick up weight. So you ballast it to be as close to neutrally buoyant as you can get at the desired depth, and then you can jettison little slugs of weight to make you lighter, which you need if you want to go uphill, but you can't go downhill. Because, you can, but you just have to keep thrusting down. You'd have to fight it down, and then you're burning through your power, and your chances are you're going to kick up a lot of dust. Yeah, so going uphill is relatively easy compared to trying to go downhill.
Do you find that you steer more with the awareness cameras, or do you actually use the viewports and account for the distortion and the
viewports?
Really? Okay. Yeah. I was wondering if the pilots maybe would go more from the wide angle cameras.
No, because they're on the sides, so that's okay if you're in an obstacle somewhere, or at least like a ridge or something, and you're moving sideways, and you flick that on to check there's nothing coming up. But no, just do all through the viewports.
Oh, okay. Even with the magnification.
Yeah, you get used to that. One of the things that's weird because the viewports are sort of rounded, so they magnify stuff. So you see something in the top viewports coming towards you, and you think, okay, that's here it comes, before you know it, it's zipping under the one below you because of the way in which it distorts. So it gives you a false sense of your depth perception is all over the place. And so it takes a little while to get used to that. But what gets me is the scale, right? So for the first few years we had the sub, we never had any laser scales. So there's quite often arguments over what size of things we're looking at. And we've got laser scales now. So when we filmed this, which we haven't spoken about on the podcast, I forgot about the lovely octopus story.
There you go.
So 4,500 meters driving along the bottom on what looked like a rubble field, pretty bleak looking deep sea setting, and right in the corner of my eye on the far right, there's a white thing, and I said to the pilot, it's like, ooh, something over there, but I thought that's probably just trash. And then they sort of move, and it was like an unmistakable move of an octopus. Like, all right, starboard. So we pulled over there pretty quick and came down on this beautiful big octopus. I've checked this with Cat, our squid expert at the moment, and it's not Casper the friendly or ghost octopus, but it's certainly of that ilk. It looks older and wiser. Doesn't look quite as sort of young and silly as Casper does, but so we sat down pretty much right on top of it and got some cracking footage of it and some really good photographs of it. And it was just one of those weird juxtaposition between that environment of looking like it had been a bomb site and then this beautiful big octopus with sort of, purple tinted tentacles just doing its thing. It didn't seem bothered by us.
Soft and fragile and next to all that destruction.
Yeah, just having a moment with this nice big octopus. And, to me, that was one of the big highlights of that trip because it was just such a majestic big animal. And to find it at 4,500 meters it seemed weird. But anyway, the point is, I'm going back and telling everyone, we've just seen this massive big octopus. It was absolutely brilliant. It was, the size of a car. Not quite, but in my mind, it was pretty big. And then, of course, you look back in the video, you look at the laser scales, and the entire head of that octopus is only about 12 centimeters across. It's actually tiny. And then I'm thinking, oh my God, if that's what I think is big, then everything else I've been watching for the last few years is actually genuinely really, really small, which makes the photography even more impressive. But it just goes to show how much the stuff messes with your eyes.
Yeah, which is one thing when you're trying to guess how big animals is, but quite another when you are trying to fly the damn thing.
Yeah, on that occasion I wasn't flying, so I was just enjoying it. Just enjoying the views.
Just a moment with an octopus.
Yeah. Well, that was a cool one. And then the other weird one is the 8,500 meter dive that Denise did. The place was covered in these tunicates, a different type of tunicate. There's a picture of it on your screen right now, Tom.
I wouldn't have placed that as a tunicate.
Well, it's called Octacnemus, and it looks like a big 8-pointed star with a ninth little tiny point sticking out, and it's got a big ball and a siphon on it. It's like a gelatinous sea star with too many legs. And they were everywhere 8,500 meters, which is really peculiar.
I would never go for tunicate for that.
Yep. We saw one about 3 years ago in the Indian Ocean, and we saw maybe one or two in the Japanese campaign a couple of years ago. On this particular dive, they're everywhere. Never saw one deeper, never saw one shallower. Just 8,500 meters, just littered with these things. Go figure. All sorts of crazy things. Got some nice big Prince Axellid amphipods with some beautiful photography.
Are we away from your ones? No Jameson eye?
Yes. No, these are abyssalus, so these are just our dirty cousins. And then a big old plastic bag, as always, gets to the deepest point, and there's a big plastic bag at the bottom. I mean, to be fair, there wasn't, in the grand scheme of things, there wasn't much litter. I don't recall seeing anything significant other than that right at the deepest point. But, there are other places we've been, like the Philippines and stuff like that, which is just insane. Or Puerto Rico was pretty bad as well. It was like, and Mediterranean is just a dump.
Yeah, Mediterranean is rough.
And there's some money shots of whales.
Sexy whales.
Yeah. Look at those two in the middle there, Tom. Huh?
Oh, there you go. There's your whale porn.
Yeah, cool, eh?
Well, it's a very cool thing to share. Scroll down the Tonga Trench. That's really cool.
And I've just been sending a whole bunch of stuff this morning, so there's probably another 50 slides to add to that at some point. Probably that's the problem with going shallow. You go shallow and there's just loads more species.
Yeah.
It's really annoying. I mean, it's great scientifically. It's just really annoying because you've got so much more to sort of prepare for these reports. And
yeah, the workload is far, far higher.
Yeah, lots of gelatinous things.
They never play nice. I think that might be a 50th episode special.
Was it special though, Tom?
It's always special.
Is it? It's everyone's special, eh?
Well, it gets
Every
us together.
podcast is a privilege.
Yeah, exactly. Well, people giving us their time, it is a privilege. So thank you, dear listener.
Nobody gave us their time. This is the problem. I gave you my time, but all the people that I was trying to get to speak to,
well, not that.
Everyone listening
has decided that we're worthy of their ears, and they've given us some of their life, which is the most precious thing they have. So it is a great honor to share this last hour with you, dear listener. And I know you've listened to me on like 1.5 speed, but I still love you.
I'll do better next time. I'll try and get this gang of people into some sort of recording situation over the next few weeks. I'll try and because sometimes these podcasts are as difficult as the trip you've just been on.
I enjoy that of all the stories you've just told, like there's scrolls from the king in your toilet, there's wearing a medal, there's talking to the BBC at 11,000 meters, there's multiple new species and records, but you're very sorry you let us all down.
What's coming? Because all that stuff doesn't mean anything to anybody, right? So these are just
I think everyone listening, I think.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, that's why, like we were saying, like, do we want a million glancing eyeballs on social media, or do we want this like sense of community and these listeners that really engage with us? And I think the second one's nice.
I'll try and get my act together and we can come up with the episode 52.0.
Episode 51, which
is the one where we actually have guests on it. You know, as opposed to just going, well.
You've done enough to be a guest.
We'll still have a cup of tea with Andrew, right?
No, I think this one stands alone. I think this is good for a 50 special.
Hold on. Are you telling me you haven't even got Andrew? And I'm sitting here feeling guilty because I never got any guests on, and you didn't even get Andrew, and you work in the same room as him.
I had him on standby. I just didn't know what the topic would be.
Well, neither do I. Excuses. See, I didn't interview anyone because I was waiting to hear what Andrew was going to say.
Look at I'm sure anyone listening can feel the turn as as the spotlight of blame falls upon me.
It doesn't matter which way you try and frame this. I'm the victim here. That's what
there you go.
I think is the take-home message, listeners. I'm the victim.
I'm sorry, everyone. I'm sorry. And until
oh dear God.
Until 51, the We're Sorry special. Deep see you next time. I miss you already. If you would like to advertise with the Deep Sea Podcast, feel free to get in touch. Our audience is primarily young people with an interest in science, often undergraduates or people considering a degree in marine science, but it also includes established scientists. Feel free to get in touch if you're interested in reaching these groups.
Oh.
It just gets funnier the longer we do it.
It's not though. It wasn't funny the first time or the second time or the third time, and it's getting to the point where I would be willing to accept another equally as bad one just to not hear that one. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, that's 50 times now. It's 50 times you've said the same dad joke.
At least.
At the end of these episodes, there's got to be another dad joke you can put in there that's somehow nautical, deep sea related or something like that.
I'm throwing the mic open. Anyone wants to write in, please do.
Please. In the name of God, give them someone else to say at the end of these episodes.
Or if you would like this to continue.
Oh, I see. So maybe that's question number one. Do you want to continue, yes or no?
It's a democracy.
And if no wins, well, what should it be?
Okay.
I mean, I'll be up for that. Let the people say, have their say. That's fine. Because that's never backfired before in the past at all.
No, podcasting at podcast face.